When it comes to dogs that protect poultry, there is no better pup than my dog, Toby.
Good morning, Toby dog. How's it going, buddy boy? How's it going, buddy boy? How are you? How are you doing, pal? You having a good morning?
Toby dog is a livestock guardian dog. His breed is known as the Maremma sheepdog or Maremma. He lives outdoors with my ducks and geese and chickens 24/7, 365 days of the year. He's got a little shelter that keeps him out of the wind and the snow and the rain and keeps him warm. But his job is to just range around the property looking for threats, scaring away any predators, and keeping my birds safe. But people will often ask me how Toby handles the different types of birds we have on our farm. When it comes to the chickens, Toby is very docile and very protective and very patient. They sometimes like to get into his food, but he will shoo them away. When it comes to our duck flock, release the Kraken! The ducks give Toby plenty of room, and he treats them with care and respect. But when you start talking about our geese, I'm very impressed that he hasn't just up and bit one of their heads off. It sure is a frosty one right now. My phone is telling me it's negative 13 degrees. Whew. That's an unlucky number.
Hey, Justin. Let loose the goose!
So the mating season for our geese has finally begun. And things are getting a little bit loud and a little bit intense. The only time I've ever had issues with goose aggression here on the farm has been during mating season. During mating season, the gander, which is the male goose, those ganders get very protective, and it all kind of starts at the point where we're at right now, where the various geese are trying to pair off. While there's often a myth out there that geese mate for life, that's not exactly true. Geese are much more monogamous than chickens or ducks. But when you have a flock of geese, there's often lots of jockeying that will take place in terms of mates and who mates with whom and that sort of thing. Things can get a little bit loud and they can get a little bit violent.
Start soft, boys. You looking for a tilly, buddy? Let's have a Donnybrook.
We still haven't gotten to the point on the farm where the geese are laying eggs, but based on all the mating activity I'm seeing right now, I expect it to happen very soon. The ducks and chickens generally know that they're best off if they keep their distance. And I think Toby dog has figured out something rather similar. Toby, come. Boy. You see, Toby dog showed up on our farm last winter, and I worked really hard with him to make sure he knew the right boundaries when it came to the birds. Very early on, I learned that I needed to supervise him when he was around the ducks and geese and chickens, making sure he wouldn't misbehave or chase them or do the wrong thing. Good boy, behave yourself. You gotta behave yourself around those ducks. I also made sure that he was always in close proximity to my birds. That got him used to them, and so he wouldn't be fascinated with them and he wouldn't try to chase them and that sort of thing. But as Toby here has gotten older, I've grown to have more and more faith in him, and now at this point he has completely unsupervised access and I trust him completely with my birds. But I had been wondering how he would deal with the goose mating season here on the farm. You see, last year we only kept 5 geese over the winter. This year we're up to about 22 or 23 if you count Ron Swanson. And so because of that, I was worried he might get caught up in some of the goose on goose violence. In the past, when there's been goose fights on the farm, Toby's sometimes stepped in to try to be the referee. So I do have a little bit of a concern about how things are gonna go this winter and spring. While I have 100% faith in Toby and his ability to be cool around the geese, I don't have a lot of faith in the idea that the geese are gonna be totally cool around Toby. Like, I can think back to last year and when I was hatching out goslings, and I actually had a nest of geese hatching out their own goslings. And I remember the longer that hatching season went on, the more aggressive that Justin Finch Fletchley, our gander, got. Meanwhile, you can be quite the cantankerous one, my friend. Hey, Justin, no! Hey, no! No, no! If I pulled off my glove, I could show you I still have a few wounds on the fingers. And even after the goslings were hatched, he would snap and bite pretty regularly at me. So it does have me a bit worried about Toby Dog in that he could unwittingly get attacked by a goose. And now I bet there's a couple of you guys out there watching this video who are saying, that's an interesting premise. Who would win in a battle of 20 geese versus Toby? And while that's an interesting scenario, I hope to God that that never, ever, ever, ever happens. Because the reality is that Toby could take on 20 geese, I think. He's about 100, 110 pounds right now. He's a big boy, strong and healthy. While the geese are tough and their bites don't feel good and their wings hit hard, I think he could take them. But as a farmer, why would I want my guardian dog trying to kill my geese? So peace and harmony is what I strive for here on this farm. Spend so much time around these birds that I think you think you're a goose. So in order to figure out if I'm gonna have any issues, I have been watching super carefully when it comes to Toby and how he's interacting with the geese. Watching to see if there's any sort of aggression, watching to see if he responds negatively to when they might nip at him or be a little too up close and personal with him. And what I've seen so far is something that's really incredible. Like that time I showed you earlier when the goose like ran between Toby's legs. Like, he was completely unfazed. Or there's been times when I've seen geese walk right up to Toby and nip him in the tail, and he just looks annoyed, but doesn't actually let himself respond. That to me is pretty incredible, because if you'd asked me, I would not have expected that to be the circumstance and how a dog would respond to a goose attacking it. But Toby Dog's breed is very special. They are designed to be protectors of their animals, even if those animals might be a little bit of a jerk. Because that breed of dog was definitely raised to be around sheep. And rams, particularly during their mating season, can also be pretty aggressive. And then when you also consider the fact that he's just the sweetest, most floofiest dog out there. Oh yeah, hey buddy. It's no surprise that he's so awesome with our geese. And if you guys are watching this video and you're seeing it and you're saying to yourself,
"Hey Morgan, I would like to have a dog that is good around our poultry too. What should we do?"
Well, you guys, let me give you a couple of pointers. Number one, I would say, make sure you focus on selecting the right breed for your situation. We're in a cold climate, so I wanted a dog that was good for a cold climate. We were working with poultry, so I wanted a dog that was exceptionally chill. As I looked around and did my research, Maremmas really popped up at the top of the list of both of those categories. They might not be as aggressive around predators as other guard dogs, but in my situation, in my context, I don't need that. And so do your research and select the right breed. The second pointer would be to do your research and select the right breeder. A friend of mine, actually, his dog is Toby's father. And I just love to see that dog and the temperament of that dog. And so that was part of what inspired me to actually go with Toby specifically. I was also doing my research on the breeder who owned Toby's mom, and they just seemed like awesome people. And they actually have a sheep and duck farm, so it's a very similar context to what I'm in. And so from day one, from his birth, Toby was in a situation that was like perfect to make him very calm and chill to be here on our farm. The third pointer I would have would be to focus on making sure that you spend the time to train your dog properly. While Toby has incredible instincts and his temperament is outstanding, I have spent countless hours out here doing my chores, watching Toby, supervising him. And when he was a puppy, I spent a fair amount of time correcting him. And when I say correcting, I really do mean it's like scolding him, basically. Where I have a very stern no that I will yell, that I don't even want to yell right now, because it'll often make Toby feel really bad. That when I give that to Toby, he knows he's done wrong. And so when he was a puppy dog, if he even got remotely out of line, I'd tell him, hey puppy dog, you're not supposed to do that. And that sent some very clear signals to him about the right way and the wrong way to behave on the farm. So now I know you guys are probably wondering, why do I only have one dog? And the answer is I'm actually waiting to get my second dog. I wanted to get Toby fully trained up, and right now I am like waiting on bated breath to find out from the breeder when her dog's going in heat and when the puppies are gonna come. Because one of those puppies is coming here to Goldshaw Farm. If you guys really wanna see Toby when he was a puppy, I'm gonna run this video, which is actually the first video of Toby ever coming to the farm. You'll see me go to the breeder, pick him up, and bring him back to Goldshaw Farm. And let me just warn you, puppy dog Toby was absolutely adorable.